What is up, Flick fans? Welcome back to the channel. Wanted to kind of switch up the style of the review this time around. We are covering the Toronto International Film Festival, and today we're talking a couple of movies in this video. I have other videos on the channel, and of course the individual reviews like The Guilty and Flea, but we'll get into all of that. First off, I want to talk about some films today, so if you guys ever have the chance to see these movies, come back, let me know what you think, and are you excited for the ones we're talking about today? And we're starting off with one of the most anticipated from multiple fests, that is Petite Maman, and this is directed by Celine Sciamma, and I've actually heard her name pronounced a couple of different ways, but just according to what I've been hearing as of late. But let's talk about Portrait of a Lady on Fire. Of course, one of the talks of the town in 2019, one of my personal favorites when you look at just the beauty on a technical level. That movie was incredible, so I think everyone was looking forward to this. And just to hit on the premise super quick, it's all about Nelly, who has just lost her grandmother and is helping her parents clean out her mother's childhood home. She explores the house and surrounding woods, but one day she meets a girl her same age who is building a treehouse. This movie was a bit shocking with the fact that it was only about 70 minutes long, so one of the shortest feature-length films I've seen all year, but it's a very simplistic story. It's a story revolving around multiple things, whether it be a young girl and her friend, a mother and her daughter, and everything we get from this film is subtle, subdued, quiet. It has this calm sensibility about it, but the focus here is not only friendship, but family and the experience of what this young girl has to go through once her mother leaves. And when Nelly meets this girl of her own age in the woods, this is when everything starts to turn for her. This adventurous feel to the movie, even though, again, you know, it is as subdued as you could imagine, it does start to hit on all of the emotions that you had hoped it would hit on as the movie progresses. And I think this is a testament, obviously, an incredible director, writer at the helm here. We know what she can do at this point, and it's beautiful. My flaws come more so with the fact that even though it's a short film, not a short film, but a shorter film, it is slowly paced, and I did struggle relating to a few of the things that this young girl goes through, and I don't know if that was the pacing or just kind of the construction of the story. If you look at the translation of certain things, you will get plot points from that, but just judging the film on its surface, I think this is a spectacular movie to look at. I will be devastated if it's at least not looked at for a couple of cinematography awards. Again, that's something that we're used to from her films, but tackling a very different story this time around compared to Portrait of a Lady on Fire. I would, and I'm going to make this comparison a little bit later with a different film, but this is definitely like your Florida Project, very real, very impactful type movie, and I feel like a lot of people are going to get a lot out of this, and maybe even more than me. Again, I wasn't as in awe as I believe others have been at the festival, but I still enjoyed myself. I'm going a 72% for this movie, one of my most anticipated from the festival, and even though I wanted to love it more, I still wasn't disappointed, especially with the filmmaking, because it's a gorgeous movie. Oh man, how about Scarborough? How about Scarborough? This is one of those movies that I knew nothing about. I had heard tales about it, right? This is going to be one of the most emotional movies you watch all year, and I'm sitting back like, okay, well, all right. And you heard me in my Petite Maman review. I talked about the Florida Project comparison. This is much more so of that type of film, seeing what these young characters have to go through. But just getting into what this movie is about, it's all about three children becoming friends while living in a low-income neighborhood. And we're seeing what's happening in each of their lives, what their parents or whomever they're living with has to go through, how they may or may not be taking it out on their kids, trying to protect their kids, trying to be a good parent, but dealing with things that they don't really know how to deal with because of circumstances, making bad decisions. And the worst part about this movie, again, it doesn't affect the quality, but watching what some of these kids have to go through. One young girl in particular, who may be the highlight of the entire film, she is the heart, she is the emotion. She has to experience some things from one of her parents or both of her parents throughout the movie, and it's traumatic seeing a young girl go through this. But I make that comparison to the Florida Project because this is as real and natural, impactful of a movie as you're going to see all year. It's a little long in the tooth. I do believe the pacing at times, people are going to struggle with it if you're not highly invested in all of these stories within all of the kids and what they're going through. But we really are just focusing on one. But every time they come back to this school, they meet this teacher who is the soul of the movie because her interests, she wants what is best for these kids. And that's always kind of our hub throughout the movie where these kids flock to and most of the time feel very safe. Alia Kanani, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, plays our teacher. Incredible. I mean, just absolutely heartfelt, warm. Some of her methods, the parents, they question her because it's not what they're used to, but it's effective. And again, you can tell her interests lie with what these students need in their lives. And the filmmaking, it's rock solid, but it's not the standout here, right? Whereas other artistic movies in this vein, they showcase these beautiful shots, some excellent cinematography, and all that is good here, but it's not going to go down as some of the most memorable of the year. What's memorable here is the script and the impact of the story, couple of emotional beats, things that I personally don't really want to experience again. I don't know if I'll ever watch this movie again, to be honest with you, but it hit me as hard as it could possibly hit me. What a beautiful, beautiful movie. And Scarborough gets an 82% from me. One of my favorites from the festival. What a beautiful, beautiful film. And if you ever get your opportunity to see this, that's a huge recommendation. What is a film festival without a Naomi Watts film? This movie is called Lakewood. I didn't know what to expect. I just knew this was dealing with something that another movie that's coming out this year that I've already seen called Mass is dealing with. This is called Lakewood, and Lakewood is basically handling a school shooting, but we as an audience, we don't witness that. What we are witnessing is this mother who is racing against time to save her child as the authorities place her town under lockdown. And the only information that we are getting is coming from her as she is talking on her cell phone throughout the entire film. And that's an interesting shtick. There's another movie of the festival, The Guilty, that, handles something very different, but we're with Jake Gyllenhaal the entire time. This time, it's really just her. A couple of moments here and there that kind of take away from that concept, but for the most part, it's up to her to carry the movie, and she does at the beginning. I thought the first act was really well handled. It set up a few things, and it was leading us in a direction that I thought was shocking, unexpected, interesting, until it takes a different turn. It also starts to become repetitive. Now, I believe a movie like this in concept, in theory, is really important, right? But if you're going to have one person on screen the entire time, going on a run, going jogging, but also handling this tragedy on and off the phone as she's losing service, she's trying to figure out how to get to this school, she starts to get certain revelations, that's when the game starts to change. But then it shifts back at a point in the movie, and I was very interested to see how they were going to tackle this. And again, it's not all bad. This definitely isn't my least favorite. It's close. Not my least favorite of the festival, but I was extremely disappointed because I feel as if they could have done more to highlight certain things, to bring attention to certain things. But even though this movie doesn't necessarily have to do that, I feel like it should have done something more than what it ended up doing. And it also feels like this, feel good. I don't want to use the cliche, it's a Lifetime, but there's some really good Lifetime movies. A feel good film like that, but it does start to approach that territory, and I was really hoping it would stray away. So it isn't that the film, didn't do what I wanted it to do, therefore it's a bad movie, but it just didn't quite work on the level that it built us up to. So my final score for Lakewood is around a 50. I'm going to go right down the middle. I'm going to go 50% for Lakewood. I just felt this was a missed opportunity, even though at times throughout the movie I was on the edge of my seat, and her performance is really, really good. I take nothing away from that, but it just doesn't go that extra mile when I felt like it had the opportunity to. And I believe that's all for this Toronto International Film Festival video, guys. Thank you so much for joining. If you like this video and you want me to cover more films, let me know by dropping that thumbs up down below. Appreciate you so much for joining me. Be sure to leave your comments. See you soon.